Today I am in Tokyo, and I have been standing in front of this machine for, I checked my phone, 6 minutes. Not looking at the drinks, looking at the labels. There is a label on the third row, second from the left, that I have not seen since I was 8 years old. I am certain of this the way you are certain of almost nothing as an adult. Completely. Without doubt. The kind of certainty that arrives not through the mind, but through the stomach. Through the specific hollow that opens there when the past walks into the present without knocking. I don't know yet what this machine is doing here. I'm not sure I'm meant to know. Let me go back to where this evening started, which was nowhere near here, and tell you how I ended up in this alley with cold hands and 25 years of catching up to do. I arrived on a red-eye that had cost me 1 night's sleep and whatever remained of my ability to calibrate time. Narita to Shinjuku on the express, watching Tokyo assemble itself outside the window. First, the gray industrial margins, honest and undecorated. Then the suburbs with their patient geometry. Then the city itself, dense and luminous and completely uninterested in having been awaited. The Japan jersey was already damp by the time I reached street level. Wet polyester pulls at the shoulders with a specific insistence. It adds weight in a way cotton doesn't. I adjusted the backpack straps. The compass pin knocked against the Eiffel Tower pin once, their familiar interval. A small sound I have stopped noticing, the way you stop noticing your own heartbeat. The tattoos on my wrists were registering the cold the way they do in new cities. Not painful. More like an awareness. The black rivers and bridges and latitudes more present than usual against the skin. I have had these tattoos long enough that I sometimes forget they are there. Cities remind me. I had no map open, no plan except the one that has served me in 100 cities. Walk in the direction that feels like a question rather than an answer. Turn when turning feels warranted. Stop when something earns it. Tokyo's side streets at midnight have a quality I have found nowhere else. A watchful stillness that is not emptiness. The buildings are present. The machines are running. Someone in the stacked residential towers above the shuttered shops is awake, making tea, reading, staring at a ceiling. The city does not sleep. It redistributes itself into smaller, quieter rooms. I stopped at a kombini for coffee. Inside, white, precise, meditative. I ordered by pointing. My Japanese is a handful of words deployed carefully. A traveler spending a small budget, making each one count. Outside, I drank and watched. A couple under one umbrella, their conversation clearly important. A delivery cyclist moving through the crosswalk without slowing, entirely committed to his own momentum. I was walking again before I finished the coffee. This happens in cities that are working on me. My feet make decisions before my head catches up. I've learned not to argue with this. The tattoo ink on my wrists had the particular coldness of metal left in open air. The compass pin and the airplane pin found a rhythm against each other that matched my pace. A quiet 2-note accompaniment. I was thinking about a summer, not reconstructing it deliberately. It was surfacing on its own. The way things surface when a city quiets enough to let older material rise. A summer from the era before the tattoos, before the pins, before I owned any jersey with a crest on it. A summer when the world was made entirely of immediate sensation. The temperature of a sidewalk. The sound a particular afternoon made when nothing was happening in it. The taste of a specific drink that meant nowhere to be and for one season, finding that sufficient. The smell arrived before the sight. Cold metal and refrigerant, standard. But underneath that, something sweet and synthetic and specific. A scent with no address in my adult life, except in one particular cluster of memory, stored somewhere below language. My feet stopped. The pins went quiet. I read the labels. The Mitsuya cider, original typography. The Kirin lemon, its yellow a calibration discontinued before I finished secondary school. The melon soda, this green, this font, this specific arrangement of kana that belongs to a year. I remember not as a number, but as a temperature. These were not revival editions, not nostalgia reprints with updated barcodes. These were the original labels, unmodified, the design language of an era that ended quietly, without announcement, the way most eras end. The reflection of my cube head in the glass was slightly wrong. The geometry returning at an angle faces do not return. I raised my hand. The reflection in the glass stayed still. One beat, maybe two. Then it caught up. A child's laugh passed through the rain from an upper floor. One lit window, then dark. It did not repeat. I did not turn around. The tattoos on my wrists were very cold against the machine's panel heat, the rivers and bridges in the ink registering the contrast. I checked my phone. 11:47 p.m. A note in my own handwriting. Third row left, melon soda, 1995 label. Timestamp 11:44. I must have written it as I walked toward the machine. Muscle memory, the note-taking habit that runs ahead of conscious thought. I stared at it for a moment. I already knew what the note said. I just couldn't remember writing it. I put a coin in the machine. The melon soda dropped. I opened it. The taste was exactly right, and nothing like I remembered. Both of these things simultaneously, without contradiction. The formula had not changed. I had. The distance between the child who drank this on a concrete step in a summer that now exists only in the body's memory, and the person sitting in this alley now. That distance does not close. I am not sure it is meant to. The reflection in the machine's glass had settled. It moved when I moved. The usual beat, the usual geometry. My cube head returning from the glass at its familiar angle. The phone showed the map. Tokyo, blue lit, ordinary, and across a district to the east, a red line that was not there this morning, thin and clear, tracing streets I have not yet walked. The backpack weight settled onto my shoulders. The compass pin turned once against the Eiffel Tower pin. The airplane pin caught the machine's panel light as I turned to leave. The machine, behind me, was already waiting for the next person who needed it. East, then.